All right, good evening, everyone. This is Planning Board for March 13th, 2024. Pam, could you start with attendance, please?
Yes, Michael Gore,
Here.
Austin Groner,
Here.
Robert Romer,
Here.
Jim Barr,
Here.
and right now Eric Nyland and Michael Lauer absent.
Hey, good evening, everyone. The first item of business is a public hearing for Scenic Road and tree hearing for the removal of one public tree from the right-of-way on Forbush Mill Road. Pam, do you have the wording to? There we go.
Would you like me to read the notice?
Sure, go ahead.
In accordance with Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 87, Public Shade Tree Law, I'm sorry, I just need to move the, there we go. Public Shade Tree Law, Section 3, cutting of public shade trees, hearing damages, and MGL Chapter 40, Section 15C, Scenic Roads, and Section 250/24 of the Bolton zoning bylaws, Scenic Roads. The Town of Bolton Tree Warden and the Planning Board will hold a joint public hearing on Wednesday, March 13th, 2024 at 7 p.m. via Zoom video communications regarding an application from the Town of Bolton for the proposed removal of one 18-inch pine public shade tree required to conduct roadway improvements within the public way, consisting of a new roundabout on Forbush Mill Road near the intersection of Main Street. The applicant and plans are available for review at the Town Hall, 663 Main Street, between the hours of Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, 9 to 2:30, Tuesday, 9 to 4, and on the town's website at www.townofbolton.com. The public hearing will be conducted via remote participation pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, MGL Chapter 30A, Section 18. Login information is provided below and is posted to the town calendar on the homepage of Bolton's website at townofbolton.com. Trees to be removed consist of one 18-inch pine, and this would advertise in the Bolton Independent on February 28th and March 6th.
Mark, Randy, do you guys want to talk about the tree and the project?
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yep.
As y'all know, we're in the process of finishing up design for the roundabout that was approved at the intersection of Main Street, Forbush Mill, and Green Road. It's an intersection improvements project, and there's a single 18-inch pine tree on Forbush Mill Road, which is essentially going to be virtually in the middle of the travelway of the roundabout, and needs to be removed to facilitate construction of the roundabout. You'll see on your screen, Pam just posted a picture of the subject tree.
Yep. This is a strange, out of place tree right there at that intersection. Is Forbush Mill considered a scenic road? Is that?
Yeah, yes, it is.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I know. I had no questions. I took a look at it, and I'm excited to see the construction for the roundabout get started. So, no questions from me. Anyone on the board have questions?
Nope.
Nope. None from me.
Okay. Anyone in the audience with questions?
No, in addition to everything else, it's pretty susceptible to wind damage, I imagine.
Yeah, it's funny how it's just that one tree there that got left behind when all the others got taken away. But okay, hearing no other comments, I will make a motion to close the hearing.
I'll seconded.
Michael Gore,
Aye.
James Barr,
Aye.
Robert Romer,
Aye.
Austin Groner.
Aye.
The public hearing is closed by a motion of 4-0.
Okay, and I will make a motion to approve the removal of the single 18-inch pine at the intersection of Forbush and Main.
Second,
Second,
Michael Gore,
Aye.
James Barr,
Aye.
Robert Romer,
aye.
Austin Groner.
aye.
Okay,
The
All right.
Randy, do
application's
you have an idea
approved
when
4-0.
things? Oh, sorry, Pam.
No, that's okay.
Randy, do you have an idea when work's going to start on that?
Design is, well, maybe I see Dennis Flynn from Beta is on. Maybe I'll ask him to address that. I think that would be
Yes.
more appropriate.
Yeah, we are, as Randy pointed out, we are in the final steps of the design. Just a few things we have to wrap up here. Some sort of on the landscaping side, some lighting things. A lot of the major elements of the design, the roadway layout, grading, some small things left to do on drainage, but we're within weeks of really wrapping everything up, being able to put it out on the street. Hopefully get some construction activity going here. Hopefully sometime in the summer. Really, this to get into it this season.
Yeah.
And it's probably a couple season construction project overall.
Okay.
Just with the thing, a lot of moving around earth, putting in drainage structures, but a lot of good things incorporated in this project. If you
Yeah, no, I'm happy for it.
Yeah.
So when I saw where that tree was, I noticed the new EV charger is fairly close to that. Is that getting relocated, or is that okay from where the?
It will, yeah. As a result, it's as a result of the project. Where the edge of the road and pavement, we will have to pull that away. That's accounted for in the design
Yeah.
of the project and the cost. Just to pull that out of the way.
Okay. All right. Well. All right. Good luck and thanks, guys.
Okay.
all right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
Bye-bye.
Okay, second item of business is the land use planning grant cluster development. So Pam, we reviewed the comments before. Was this just to pick a date to schedule the forum with Randall?
Pam, you're
Actually,
muted.
he actually revised the version based on input the board gave him at our last meeting, so there was a new version in there dated 2/29, which the Google link was included in the last email I sent.
No, okay.
So you can review that and provide any additional comments, and in addition to having that updated revision, we should schedule our public meeting. Randall suggested the week of April 22nd.
I'd like to delay. I'm gonna be in Europe that week.
Okay. What about the following week, Bob? Would you
That's
be
fine.
available
Yeah,
the
that's
week of the
fine.
29th?
Yep.
Okay. Is that work?
Just a minute, hold it. Let me.
Okay.
For,
What day is town meeting?
yeah, that'll work.
We didn't pick a day. He just suggested that week. He's available for the entire week, so I have to check on his availability the following week, but if we want to pick a day that works, if we want to stick with our regular Wednesday evening, or if you want to go with a different. Yeah, this would be in person.
And is the plan probably for the library for the space?
We didn't pick a location yet.
Okay. That's typically where we hold these, so we might want to check availability of the library. And that, I think town meeting is the week after, but I'm not positive of that. Does anyone offhand know the actual
think-
date?
Yeah, it looks like it should be the 6th.
The 6th, yeah, it's May 6th.
So the following week, okay.
Right.
So yeah, I say we, if that works for everyone, we can check availability during that week. Would that be no, that probably wouldn't be a regular meeting week for us. We would be 10th and the 24th probably.
Right.
Okay. But we would do no other business at that meeting anyway. So let's check for library availability on the week of the 29th. and see if we can get space. How long approximately, Bob, do you think he's gonna speak for? Hour, 2 hours?
2 hours probably.
Okay. And the goal is to advertise this in the Independent
Yep,
and anywhere else?
and the item.
Okay.
And then we can probably have Kristen DeJong get it on Facebook
Mhm.
as well as
Okay.
the town website.
Does that work for everyone else that week?
It does. Are we thinking that Wednesday, the 1st would be the meeting date? Or is it just, we don't know what day during that week?
So I think we need to first check availability with Randall and then see if the library is available.
Sure, sure.
Um,
Okay,
Any of those days, and then we can just whatever works best for everyone, we can pick something then.
okay. Yeah, that week works for me.
Okay.
I'll try and stick with the Wednesday just so
Yeah, that works.
it's a regular meeting night.
Okay. Anything else on that?
Yeah, actually there is. I forwarded Randall's write-up, the last write-up to Stasha Downey, who is responsible for all the housing stuff in the master plan. And she got back to me Sunday night with comments, which I'll forward to everybody.
Okay, next item of business is categorized annual goals. And this was another Google Docs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I attached it to the email. I'll pull it up.
Yep, okay.
So. Having trouble getting it on the screen, but here we go.
No, it's up.
Is it? Because I categorized everything by what bylaw we would expect things to be either amended or added to, which would require an annual town meeting vote. And then below that, things were categorized by public hearing requirements that don't need to wait for annual town meeting. So everything to the rules and regs, and there were some notations on application forms and also amendments to the subdivision control regulations. And those we can take up at any point during the year and complete those. I know that Randall will likely have some suggested changes to our subdivision control regulations through the land planning grant. So we might want to begin work on other things, but maybe hold off on a public hearing so we can do it cohesively and not have to advertise and send out notices for multiple hearings throughout the year.
Yep. And all these came from that list that we kind of had that running list going.
Yeah, with regional high school, it came about that the site plan applications actually go to the Board of Selectmen, which I think typically defer the application to the planning board, but there is no application process or even application form to fill out. So we should really formalize that process so we have submission requirements and receive the information that we need to make an informed decision. So getting that in place. I don't think you've had too many of those without this,
They're
from what I've
all-
seen in the records of submissions, but
Yeah, the only one I knew of was the 580 Main Street one, where that went to select board.
yeah, that
And
was a
then came to
special
us.
permit though. So we did have an application for those, but the
Okay.
site plan as a standalone application, I think
Oh,
doesn't
I see what
occur
you're
that
saying.
often.
Just
Yeah.
as a site plan. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And,
So the
oh.
ones, go ahead, Bob.
Now, the one above it, kennels, bed and breakfast accessory apartment.
That was a suggestion in the list to create rules and regulations.
Oh, okay.
I think we did complete those. We approved a kennel either last year or the year before. An accessory apartment, we did detached accessory apartment by special permit. And I think attached dwelling unit is by right at this
Mhm.
point.
Yeah,
Yep,
I'd certainly be willing to look at detached accessory apartment by right. I, I think as long as they meet the requirements, then they don't necessarily need to come before us, but other people on the board can weigh in. I just kind of want to reduce the red tape for people to, improve housing stock in town.
yeah, if we
Michael,
can
is that-
provide clear guidelines,
Sorry, Robert, I was gonna ask if accessory apartments, how do they differ from accessory dwelling units?
I think it's the same thing.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
yeah,
I think we call it accessory dwelling unit. Other places may call it accessory apartment.
Is there a square footage requirement for that, like a maximum or something?
There's a limit, yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that they can do it by right when it's attached, but special permit when it's detached. And I understand sort of the reasoning for it, but I mean, again, I think as long as we have clear guidelines and they meet the regulations, then, that's my feeling. Other people can chime in, but what was the scenic roads one? Do you know?
yeah,
Was that?
from what I get, we don't have an application for scenic roads. When people want to remove public shade trees or part of the stone wall, there's no formal application or filing process associated with it. They have been just sending in an email saying they want to
Huh.
remove so many trees, so it'd be nice to get a process in place and to have people submit a formal application to the town with some sort of map requirement or identification process for what the work they're going to do.
Yeah, no, I assumed that we had one. Because we have so many of those hearings.
No, we've been kind of just piecemealing things together from what I can tell. And
Yeah.
there's no guidelines for submissions or any application.
Okay, so I see. So the kennels, bed and breakfast, accessory apartment, this was for the application you're talking about. We don't have an existing application for these things. Is that what that means?
Yes,
Okay,
right.
that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those, just a public hearing, nothing else for those, right?
Correct.
Okay. And subdivision control regulation. It would be nice to have some other wording in here that would help us out so we don't run into delinquent subdivisions again.
Good luck.
I kind of started recently looking at other towns and sort of what they have in their subdivision rules and regs. Especially like if I could find someone that called out, like an abandoned subdivision, basically. And so far I couldn't really see much. The towns all around here all end up copying each other's bylaws anyway. So usually we all have similar language in those, but I'm gonna keep kind of going through some other towns to see if I can find anything that would be helpful to us.
do we have any examples of abandoned subdivisions in other towns?
That's what I was looking for, and the answer was no. The closest I came to was I don't know if might have been Boxborough. One of them had talked about if they had approved plans, but basically never started construction. And a year or two had lapsed since the permit was issued, they never had instruction. Then it was you know, it was considered abandoned and the permits were lost at that point. So just talk about how to handle that situation. It
Yeah.
it
no, that's-
never. Yeah, I couldn't come across anything that talked about active construction and
Right.
abandonment that way.
Nice to be unique, isn't it, Mike?
Yeah, it's great.
I would also be curious to know if any abandoned subdivisions have ever been completed by another developer. Is that something that can happen, or
Mhm.
can there be incentives for those sorts of things?
That can happen. I've seen it happen before, and you can transfer rights as long as the security is get transferred to a new owner, or the owner provides new security.
Mhm.
I think it's hard to put to prevent them from going on and on for long periods of time. I don't know how much control we have over that. Once they start, you're kind of limited as to what you can do to give a hard stop date. But keeping on top of the security and the peer review counts certainly helps.
Yeah, the discussion around funding of the peer review accounts and periodic replenishment, that would be something good to review or add. I don't think we had anything around that.
I haven't seen anything other than we allow it at your discretion.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if we want to go through any of these other ones tonight. I know the parking bylaw. So we had passed the bylaw, a parking bylaw several years ago. And I know the trend sort of has been to reduce the number of required spots. I don't know how much that actually impacts Bolton just because we have so few businesses. But I don't know. Pam, do you think much
No,
along the lines of
we're
that?
pretty automobile dependent. So I don't know how much you want to. I know that the ZBA can reduce it by special permit. So
Yeah,
maybe we want to look at that process and maybe have that closer associated to the planning board, if that would ease the process and prevent them from having to go before two different boards for two different hearings.
yeah.
I've
like
seen
the-
it done by the planning board in other bylaws through the special permit process, which might make more sense than having to do a different application to the ZBA.
I definitely think so. Like, especially if we're the ones setting the parking schedule, that, you know, if that was just written such that, you know, at the discretion of the board, the number of spots can be reduced. Because I mean, that's, you know, that was 580 Main Street there. If you ever went behind there, like the number of spots that they had in that place was, I mean, it was crazy.
Mhm.
Maybe there was a point in time when they had that many cars, but I've certainly never seen it.
Pam, to your point about being a car dependent town, has anybody or everybody seen the recent New York Times article on carbon footprint of towns throughout America?
No.
It's a great article, and it has an enormous amount of research in it. And it has maps which are color coded for degree of size of carbon footprint per person. And Bolton comes out right at the top.
Yep. I
And
believe
it's,
it.
you know, for obvious reasons. Curiously enough, Manhattan is way down at the bottom because of the concentration availability of public transportation, as is downtown Boston.
Yep. Yep. Walking and subways are
Yep,
certainly helpful.
it's an interesting article.
Yeah, no, I'll
I-
take a look at
I can forward it along, Bob.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Hopefully it's not behind a paywall.
that.
If not, I'll make a PDF and send it.
Yeah.
Please do.
So just
go
to
ahead,
get
Pam.
some things done, I can start working on the applications pretty quickly.
Okay. The other one, there's sign bylaw, like, I mean, so kind of going along with the site plan approval, taking that back from select board, I know select board also enforces the sign bylaw, which has always seemed weird to me. I don't know if they want to give that up, or I don't know if that's something we want to take from them, but you know, if we're looking at things that the select board does that don't make sense, that might be one.
Mhm.
Especially when the design review board, obviously deals with a lot of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
In terms of, curb view of property and development.
Yep, agreed. Okay, anything else anyone wants to discuss on those notes?
I think
Pam, it's a nice layout. I mean, it really gives us the opportunity to look at how it fits in and what the low hanging fruit is in terms of our ability to do it.
Yeah, and we can
Definitely agree.
certainly, add and subtract things as we go through, but
Yeah, we should.
at least categorize what we have compiled so far.
Yep. That's
Yeah,
great.
looks good. Thank you, Pam.
I do have one quick question. I think I'm interested in the mixed use overlay district. Why, if there's a way for us to get to the bottom of why it's not being used. I guess I'm curious to hear any thoughts about how to proceed on that one.
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know if it's the number of parcels that qualify for it. Or I really don't know. I mean, at some point a few years ago, we greatly increased the square footage that they could build on those. That was something that we got feedback on, was the percentage of the lot size that you could build on was pretty small. And we increased that, but still no one's done it.
Could parking also be an issue?
So that was one where I think we changed the parking regulations for that zone to say you could put your parking behind the building, maybe. So Eric did a lot more work. I don't think he joined. Eric had done a lot more work on that one, and he knows that bylaw far better than I do. So maybe when the next meeting that he's available, we can ask about that. I mean, I would love to, but we worked really hard on that bylaw, and it's been bizarre to me how no one's ever used it. And I don't even believe anyone's ever come to the town inquiring about it, but I might be wrong. Oh, no, that's not true. So we did have last year, the year before, someone did come about a parcel on right there at Forbush Mill in Maine, about building mixed use. Now that's not in the mixed use zone. That was a straight business zone. And he inquired about possibly rezoning that parcel. So, but that was kind of just early, show us some thought, get some ideas, but nothing ever came out of that as far as I'm aware.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the closest, was someone inquiring about a different parcel to be included in the mixed overlay.
Yeah, he came to the master plan committee as well.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it was a good proposal. It was some housing and small retail, like a cafe or something. But yeah, no, it never went anywhere else.
Well, I think it also begged the issue of, does it make sense to do it in what he had proposed? Or should we seriously consider extending it and moving the DPW facilities?
I mean, that's as long as I've been in town, that's been a plan, was to move that DPW facility somewhere and use that as business owned land.
Yeah.
But it's, nothing's really ever come of it with the cost for what it would be to build a new facility. I think it would have a hard time passing, especially with the new high school coming, but
Mhm.
you know, definitely you know, that's an old facility. It's got to be tough for all them to work in, and having a new, better facility would, you know, that would be great.
Well, some of the feedback we've gotten and Pam can talk about this with Randy, is that they flat out don't have any space to store their equipment now, period.
They don't even have
See it.
adequate bathrooms in there. It's pretty bad situation in that garage.
Yep. No, I would be happy to, you know, look at that. Now, I don't know where else we have land that would work. If the town has land that it already owns, or
There was talk, and I don't know how realistic it is or how much work was put into investigating the feasibility of it, but there was talk at putting it at the transfer station.
on top of
Yeah,
where the
there's a fair
landfill
amount of
is.
territory up there.
Yeah, but it's all capped landfill. I don't know if they can build on it.
No, there's more than that, Mike.
Oh, out behind it?
Yeah, I mean, it's
Isn't the
actually a
solar-
bigger piece of property than people think.
There's
The
also like
solar
a-
field's not back there?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, there's a huge solar
Yeah.
field behind there. Yeah.
Right.
Well, either way, I mean, I think as a board, we'd probably all be opening to making zoning changes to help them out, but
One of the things I had suggested, and we never got around to it, is to take the approach that we had developed in the master plan committee for a focused area assessment, in which we looked at all the ownership, all the zoning, all the limitations in terms of slope, soil, et cetera, and thought about an entire area like that and what makes the best sense regardless of current ownership. And I think that may be something that we could do. I mean, the master plan obviously is not gonna do that, and it really isn't responsible for doing the detailed analysis, but I think using the approach that we used at the intersection of 495 and 117, you know, around 580 Main Street over to Wattaquatic, would be very, very useful for that particular area to get a better sense of what can be done, who owns it, et cetera.
and I assume we don't own. The town doesn't own any of that land
No,
in that area. Yeah.
but Frank Chiodo might be very interested in the conversation.
Hmm. Does he own property there as well as Forbush?
Yeah,
Okay. Interesting.
no, I meant Forbush, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was the talk when that other guy was
Right.
talking about Forbush, was to figure out if there's a bigger thing we could do for that whole area. So
But I think that's something we could do. Not to add more to our plate, but it would give us a better perspective on what's realistic.
well, I mean, you know, again, if the DPW stays where it is, that I mean, it makes the whole thing limited, like until we solve that problem. And I'm all for solutions to that. I know they would appreciate it, but I have no idea what it would take.
But
to
Mike,
make
if we do have town land associated with the transfer station, you know, I think we ought to at least look at it. I'm not aware of how viable it is from an access and construction point of view, but I think it's time to look.
I'm just pulling it up on the map here.
I have a silly question. Is that the only DPW facility that we have in town?
is.
Yes and no. They are storing stuff, I believe, over with the fire station.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what we own for land back there. Everything that's behind the liquor store that's all. I mean, it looks like truck storage back there.
I mean, I would imagine with the number of what would be the square footage that they would need in terms of a barn, you know, I mean, what is there?
I mean, what they have today is, it's
Oh,
not
it's
much at
small,
all.
it's small.
Yeah.
It does, it can't keep up with what, with our expansion. That's for sure, but I would wonder what if they had a wish list or of what other, I hate to keep comparing to other towns, but like what would be the need in, you know, in terms of a facility, you know, with proper restrooms, you know, proper bays, square footage is basically that would, I think would we would have to find out.
Well, I would be very surprised if Randy didn't know that already.
No, I'm sure he does, but again, like what, I guess it's more a question of where else does the town own land?
Yeah.
And just looking.
Really doesn't.
Yeah, right. I mean, if we have stuff up past the transfer station, I mean, there's not a huge amount of space in between the back of the transfer station and the solar field. And everything that's behind the liquor store, which is like, there's a pretty big parcel. I don't think the town owns that.
No, I believe
Yeah.
Frank Shoto owns that.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, I think there are a lot of we don't knows, and we ought to get. I'm sure that Pam has access to the GIS and works through the GIS, and I know Rebecca has a lot of information on slopes and that sort of thing. It would be nice to do what we did at intersection of 117 and 495. Pam, if you could send out a link to that information, which I know is up on the drive, so people can look at what the approach was and what the various overlays, how they were developed and how they were used in order to figure out the area and around 580 Main Street all the way to Wattaquatic, back to Berlin Road, West Berlin Road. But it would raise some, I mean, we thought we knew about it until finally somebody laid it all out in front of us, and we were very surprised.
So you want me to get the information for Forbush Mill similar to what was done for 580 Main?
Well, I think just letting the board look at what was done with the 580, well, it's not just 580. I mean, it was that whole huge rectangle, all the overlays that have been developed, and limitations, ownership, zoning. There were a whole bunch of overlays that we used to look carefully at
GIS
that.
overlays.
Yeah,
that
right.
Identified, okay,
Yeah. Right down to
flood zone and all that
and,
fun
and
stuff.
even public water supplies, what the limitations were there, and so all that stuff got brought together and overlaid, and gave us the ability to look at who owned what and what we could do under which circumstances. With the intent, incidentally, of potentially collaborating with private owners to do things over there.
Okay, I'll reach out to Randy before I start doing anything, just so I
Okay,
don't step on his toes, and
well, I mean, it's. the
and he
stuff
may
that we
have some of
developed-
the background information already
Yeah,
done.
it's just background information on
Yeah.
what can be done when Randy comes up with his thoughts.
Okay, anything else on annual goals? No? Okay, the last item of business was approval of minutes. January 10th and January 17th. I thought we'd approved the January 10th ones already.
I didn't
maybe
have
not.
that in my records, so if
Okay,
you did, I apologize. I don't-
Yeah, I thought we had, but I'll go ahead and remake the motion. I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from January 10th, 2024.
Seconded.
Michael Gore,
Aye.
Robert Romer,
Aye.
James Barr,
Aye.
and that's it. Austin, you were absent, I have, so you'd need to
Right.
recuse yourself. Okay,
Abstain.
thank you.
And
So
I
that
will
passed
make,
by a motion
oh.
of 3-0. And then January 17th.
Yep, I will make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from January 17th, 2024.
Second.
Michael Gore,
Aye.
Robert Romer,
Aye.
James Barr,
Aye.
Austin Groner.
Aye.
Those passed by a motion of 4-0.
Okay, our next meeting was scheduled for the 27th. I'm gonna be in interviews for the town administrator. I'm on the committee that's helping to pick the next town administrator, so I won't be available that night. And I think Pam, you had a conflict as well. So do we have anything that would be required that night? Any public hearings that have come up?
There's no public hearings. I just got a request from the building department to release a few driveway sureties, but they're quite old as it is. So I don't think there's
Okay.
a rush to act on those.
Okay, so what I would suggest is we just hold off until the meeting after that, which is April 10th, I believe. Unless something urgent comes up, Pam, and then we could try to find, like, I could probably do that Monday or Tuesday, but the rest of the week there is all taken up with interviews in the evening. So let's tentatively plan on no meeting for the 27th, and we'll meet, if something urgent comes up. Otherwise we'll plan on April 10th as the next meeting. Does that work
Sounds
for
good.
everybody?
It does.
Okay.
All right, I'll get some flyers together and send them out just for your information for the public forum. I want to start advertising for that as soon as possible for the week of April. And I'll notify you of the location and date as soon as possible.
Okay, and just if Randall can't do that week, just let us know, and maybe
Yeah.
we can try to find something over email that works for everybody.
Okay,
Okay, anyone else have anything they want to talk about?
No.
just so you know, I have to go to a deposition for Keys Farm on March 27th. So just so you know, that's moving along.
Okay,
I won't say too much more than that at this point,
all right.
out of
I'll talk-
executive session.
Yeah, I'll talk to you about that at some point then.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
Mike, if you
Oh.
have some time sooner rather than later, that would be helpful. I'm gonna meet with council next week to try and prepare for the deposition. I've gotten a lot of the records together and have reviewed them, so I think I have a good handle, but your personal experience with the project would be helpful.
Yep, definitely. We'll set a time and we can meet.
Okay, great. Thank you. I
Alright.
appreciate that.
Not a problem. Okay, if
you.
there's nothing, oh, sorry, go ahead. If there's no other business, I will make a motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Pam. And
Alright,
we'll
thank you.
see you in April.
Have a
Okay,
good
bye.
night.
Good.
Have a good
Thank
night.
you.
Thank you.